Welcome, everybody. Nice to have you here. Glad to have you here. Another day for beginners, Thursday. Although it's a day for beginners, this lady sitting here may be one of the oldest practicing Buddhists in Australia. How many years have you been practicing? Yes? Since 73, so that means 24 years. And how old are you? You don't talk about it. So we've met many times here. You are familiar with the way I talk. But actually, on Thursday I talk in a different way. And on Saturday I talk in another way. And on Sunday, still another way. Because different context. So in different context, I talk in a slightly different way, although the subject matter is quite the same. And also feels more relaxed on Thursday. Why is that? Not very formal. Actually, I talk in a very informal way on Thursdays. Very formal on Saturday. You are used to the way I talk. Some of my friends say that I talk like a haiku. You know what a haiku is? Somebody may say, yes, haiku is a Japanese poem. Very short. I like reading haiku. I have many books on haiku poems. And I like reading them. But very hard to understand. To understand a haiku, you need to understand the context of it. Our whole life is actually a context. If you take something out of context, you may understand it somewhat, but sometimes you misunderstand it. So it's always very important to understand something in the context. For example, since I'm talking about haiku, I'll give you an example. And I read that poem a long time ago. And one friend here reminded me the same poem again while we were talking about haiku. So as you know, I'm very interested in poems, poetry, music, meditation, and a whole lot of things too. Science, philosophy, psychology, comparative religion, anthropology, history, and what else? Too many things interesting, too little time, life is so short. But I've done a lot of things in my past life, so I can let go of a lot of those things. And this life I'm trying to do something I've not done very well before. So anyway, poetry is one of my very deep interests. I think it's one of the greatest achievements of human beings. Poetry is the greatest achievement. Actually, Buddha talked in poems. Maybe you have noticed them. Gathas are poems. Actually, gatha really means song. Dhammapada, most of you have read Dhammapada. That's gatha, poem, verses, song. Sometimes I sing gathas. Like one gatha I like very much. It's about the quality of the Buddha. Before I pay respect to the Buddha, at least I sing that in my mind. Yes, that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. I almost forgot that. And that kata, the first line is Karuna Sitala Hadiyam. So I have to recite it very carefully because I know in Burmese way only. So the other way is very difficult for me. So Karuna Sitala Hadiyam. But I make it a song and I sing it like Karuna Sitala Hadiyam. I can make it sound even more beautiful. Like making it very deep, reverberating voice. And I've sung this kata for so many times, maybe thousands of times. But every time I recite it, I feel it. Karuna. Karuna, you know the word Karuna? Meaning Karuna. Karuna, compassion, yes, Karuna. Metta, Karuna, we've talked a lot about metta before. So, I would like to talk about Karuna tonight. So, Karuna means compassion. But what does compassion mean? Calm and passion. So anyway, Karuna, compassion. Sitala means cool. So the Buddhist mind is cool because of Karuna. Hariya means heart. Karuna, compassion, cool heart. Compassionate, cool heart. Or any way you can translate it. Because of compassion, the Buddha's heart was cool. But for us, sometimes compassion is so hot. For me at least, it makes me so sad sometimes. Because of compassion, because I see somebody suffering, I suffer for that person and I feel like crying. And I do cry. I still cry quite a lot. So Karuna Sitala Hadiyam Panya Pajota Vihata Moha Tamam. That's a long sentence. Panya, you know the meaning of Panya? Wisdom. Pajota means light. The wisdom of light. Light and wisdom, they're the same. Pajota. Vihita means to eradicate. To Vihata. To eradicate is the right word actually, but I'm trying to find a more beautiful word. Panya, Pajota, Vihata, Moha, ignorance, illusion, not knowing, not understanding, or wrong knowing. Wrong knowing is not knowing. The same. Panya, Pajota, Vihata, Moha, Tamam. Moha, not knowing, Tamam means darkness. Not knowing is darkness, knowing is light. So whenever you know something, your mind becomes bright, you wake up. Some darkness is gone. So that's the joy of knowing. Whenever we know the truth about something, it makes the mind become bright and light. It brings a lot of joy to you. Because going in the dark, so painful it is. Groping in the dark. So painful, so scary. Insecure. Darkness makes you insecure. Light makes you feel secure. So wisdom, understanding, is a kind of light that makes you feel secure. So there's no other security actually. We talk about social security. It's a very good social security system, very good, but not really secure. It won't really make you feel secure. It won't give you something to eat, but it will not really make you feel secure. Only wisdom can make you feel secure. Nobody else can do that, even not the Buddha. Nobody, no person, no being, no power can make you feel secure. It's your own wisdom only which can make you feel secure. So Panya, Pajota, Vihata, Moha, Tamam. Panya, wisdom. Pajota, light. Vihata, eradicated. Moha, ignorance. Tamam, darkness. With the light of wisdom, the Buddha had eradicated the darkness of illusion. Very beautiful meaning, very beautiful. If you dwell on it for a long time, you know that, yes, this is truth. Understanding, wisdom, eradicates darkness. But not knowing is so dark, so scary. You don't know where you are going. You might fall into a pit in the dark. You are not sure of your steps. If you know where you are going, you can feel secure. You can walk really with confidence. So, Panya Tejota Vihata Mohatamam Sa Mara Mara Loka Gurum. The teacher of all the world of human beings, all the worlds of all beings. So, he was the teacher of all beings. Gods, human, and the last line is Vande Sugatam Gati Nihotam. Vande means I pay respect. Sugatam means the one who has gone well, or the one who speaks well. It has two meanings, and I like both meanings. The one who has gone well, or the one who has gone to safety. It has many meanings. So this is the nature of poem. One word can mean so much, and each meaning has its depth, very deep in meaning. So the one, I pay respect to the one who has gone well, who has gone to safety, and who spoke well. Buddha spoke very well. He spoke the truth. And to the Gati Vimutta means, Gati means any kind of existence in the samsara. Vimutta means free, the one who is free from existence. And this is very difficult to understand. Why is it so good? Why is freedom from existence good? So to understand this very deeply, you need to meditate and see that any existence is not satisfactory. You might find some enjoyment or pleasure once in a while. I do enjoy some pleasure once in a while. But still it's very unsatisfactory because it doesn't last. So I recite this gatha. I sing this gatha actually. Karuna Sitallahadevam Anya Pajota Vihata Mohadamam Sa Nara Nara Lokangaro Vande. I have to raise my voice to sing it. Vande Tugatam Gadi Vimudam Karuna Sitallahadevam Anya Pajota Vihata Mohadamam Sa Nara Nara Lokangaro Vande Tugadam Gadi Vimudam. It's like a classical music. And if you sing it with real deep attention, giving the meaning also, it really brings a lot of joy. And if you know the meaning, it gives you also wisdom too. So anything we do with understanding makes us understand things very deeply. And it can change us too. If we do something with understanding, it changes us. Actually, understanding changes us. If we do something without understanding, even though we think that we are doing something good, it might not really change us because we don't understand. So only understanding can have real effect on our life, not just devotion. If I sing this gatha without understanding the meaning, I might feel happy about it because I think that, oh, I'm doing something good, I'm paying respect to the Buddha, I've memorized the gatha, the song. But when I understand the meaning, it becomes very profound. So even understanding just one verse, one gatha, really deeply, if we get really deeper into the meaning, it becomes meditation and it can lead to liberation too. Very deep in meaning. So for example, Karuna Sitallahadevam, the Buddha's heart, which is cool with compassion. What does compassion mean? Do we feel compassion? Of course, sometimes we feel compassion. Sometimes, not always. So let's talk about the haiku again, back to the haiku. So I was discussing about this haiku with a friend here, who came in just now. And to understand this haiku, you need to understand the context. So this little haiku verse is, the world of Jew is only a world of Jew, and yet. That's all the poem is. It was written by Basho. The world of G is only a world of G, and yet. What did he mean? He was a monk, a Zen monk. Can anybody guess what he meant? You can guess some meaning. Just make a good guess. Very touching, this meaning. Very, very touching. To understand that poem, you need to understand why he wrote that poem. And when he wrote that poem, you need to understand his life. At least at that time in his life, when he wrote that poem. His little daughter died, maybe about 3 or 4 years old. Very beautiful, loving daughter died. And he was a monk, a very learned monk actually, a meditator, who is supposed to understand the impermanence of all existence. And he was teaching that too, in some ways. So he taught this, the world of G means the world of impermanence. How long does the jewel last? Only a few hours in the morning. When the sun comes out, it disappears. So he said, the world of G is only a world of G. He knows that people are born and they will die. The world of impermanence. But this is for a daughter. So he said, and yet. What does that mean? And yet. And although I know that things are impermanent, although I know that people are born and they will die, and yet, when my daughter died, I feel so sad. I feel it, so sad. But he didn't mention those words. And can you feel his sadness? This monk, very learned monk, very old teacher, meditator, who is supposed to be beyond these feelings. So he said, in these beautiful, simple words, so beautiful and so simple, you can't make it more simple. That's the beauty of haiku. It's so simple. And minimum of words, but with so much meaning and so much feeling. The world of G is only the world of G. And yet. And these two words, and yet, make me feel so tremble in my heart. Oh, this old Zen monk, he feels it so strongly. And I feel for him too. What would happen if my children die, if any one of them die? I think I will say the same thing. Exactly the same thing. The world of G is only a world of G. And yet. Oh my. When anything should happen to my children, I will still feel very sad. Very, very sad. But you might think, or some of you might think, oh, why should a monk feel so sad? He knows all the Dharma, he's studied for so long and he's been practicing for so long. Yes, I've studied and I'm practicing, I'm studying too. But I have a long way to go. Although I've come a long way, I have a long way to go. It takes a long, long time to overcome all those attachments. So, and yet. So I have another long poem, actually. I wanted to talk about this poem a long time ago, but another difficulty, the reason of which I postponed to talk about this subject for so long is that whenever I read this poem, I feel very, very sad again. So this old monk has not yet overcome this sadness. But Buddha's heart, although he was very compassionate, his heart was very cool. Not me. I'm just a human being like you. So I hope I've talked a lot about myself with you, to you. And I thank you very much for really listening to me today. I really want you to understand the person that I am. I don't want you to take me for somebody who I am not. So you may have some idea of this now, and you might think that, oh, he must be like this. Maybe you're right, but maybe you're wrong. This is a prayer for children. Since I want to talk about compassion, the first thing that came to my mind was children. Older people also need to feel compassion for them too. But the first thing came into my mind, the first person was children. So I have this poem a long time, but every time I read this poem I feel so sad I couldn't talk about it. I was afraid that I would break down here in front of you. But I prepared myself for a long, long time, many, many days, that I will not break down, I will not cry in front of you. But if I do, I hope you understand. I'm not sure. Well, this poem was written by Ina J. Hughes or something like that. And the title is A Prayer for Children. So that's all. We pray for children. Do we pray for children? Yes, we do sometimes. We hope that they are very happy, they are loved, they are cared for. We do. For our children, for our relatives' children, for our friends' children. We do pray that they grow up with a lot of love, a lot of nectar, a lot of understanding. We pray that they don't go through so much difficulties that we went through, that we've been through. Many, many times I pray for my children. I hope they will not make the same mistakes that I made. I hope they will not feel neglected. I hope they will not feel unloved. I hope they don't feel misunderstood. I pray for my children quite often, almost every day. So here's a prayer for children. We pray for children who put chocolate fingers everywhere. This second line makes me feel like crying. Think of little babies, young boys, young little girls. They like to eat sweets so much. In our country, we don't have chocolates. Very, very expensive. One piece of chocolate will cost about 1 meal. So we have brown sugar balls, natural body sugar, brown. Tastes very good. And we have sugar cane, natural sugar cane, unrefined, brown sugar cane slabs. So when we were young, we ate that quite a lot. We break a big piece and then chew them. Sweet sugar cane slabs, just like chocolates, and get our hands really sticky with sugar, and the whole face sticky with sugar, sometimes even our clothes. With the sticky hands, we touch here, we touch there, and everything gets dirty. We touch tables, the tablecloths, and doors, everything got dirty. So when I read this, it reminded me of my my childhood days. I saw myself a young little boy, and I really liked sugarcane sugar slabs. I ate a lot. And when I put my fingers everywhere, my mom, she got so upset, so angry. You are making everything dirty again? On the door and on the table and tablecloth and all your clothes? How many times have I told you not to do that? But no matter how many times she told me, every time I ate sugar slabs, I got dirty. I put my finger everywhere. So it reminded me of my childhood. Sometimes my mom, she scolded me so hard, I thought she didn't love me anymore. So I just went away. And then I came back and looked at her. How is she? Does she like me? No? Maybe yes. And then she said, go away. Go now. Go and wash yourself. So I had to go away and wash myself, thinking, oh, I've done something wrong. You know, kids don't know. They don't know what is right and what is wrong. So not only me, I know many other kids like that now have nieces and nephews. So innocent. They don't know. And we are correcting them all the time. Don't do this, don't do that. You have done it again. How many times should I tell you? Do I need to tell you? You've made the same mistake again and again. With this innocent eyes, you're looking. What have I done wrong? I don't know. So, whenever I read this poem, I feel so sad, like crying. So don't scold children so much. They don't know. We need to be very kind to them. We need to teach them to do things right, but don't make them feel bad. Don't tell them you are a bad boy, a bad girl. So think of yourself when you were so young. When mom or dad scold or maybe hit you, me, think of that again. We are still carrying that little kid inside. Look at your kid. Hold him in your arms. Hold her in your arms. So, who like to be tickled? We pray for children who put chocolate fingers everywhere. Who like to be tickled? Did you like to be tickled when you were young? All of us do. Because that shows that our parents enjoy us. They tickle us, they make us laugh, and then they laugh and we laugh. We really like it. Do you miss that? Think of that. And think of the babies still around you, near you, at home, or your friends' children, or your relatives' children, or your own children. And they like to be tickled. They like attention. When you tickle them, they feel that, oh, my parents enjoy us. They love us. We are precious. Who stop in puddles and ruin their new pants? We did that quite a lot. It rained a lot in our country. Monsoon rain, very heavy rain. We like to run in the rain and get ourselves dirty. Kids are like that, who stomp in puddles and ruin their new pants. Who sneak popsicles before supper. So parents tell us, don't eat anything before your supper. Don't eat any sweet before your supper. My parents told me again and again, don't eat any sweet before your meal, because if you eat sweet, then you won't eat your meal. But we always like to sneak and sweet stuff. And the kids are like that. They like those things. We sneak popsicles before supper. Who erase holes in math workbooks? Yes, we did that. With eraser, we rub and made holes. Simple things kids like to do. They just do it. So lovely. So innocent. For them, for little kids, everything is like a game. They don't have the idea of work. They don't have the idea of study actually. For them, everything is a game. And I think sometimes we lose that sort of attitude. We lose that way of seeing everything as a game. Actually, sometimes I tell my friends, life is a game. Play it very well, with intelligence, but don't take it so seriously. Sometimes we take things so seriously. It's a game, but play it with real intelligence. Who can never find their shoes? Yes, sometimes we kids, we throw away shoes somewhere and couldn't find it. Not only shoes, sometimes couldn't find our socks, and couldn't find our pencils and pens and whatever. We put away things somewhere and we couldn't find it anymore. And we were scolded again and again. To be disciplined. We pray for children who bring us sticky kisses and fistfuls of dandelions. Look, imagine a little kid, maybe your children, maybe you yourself did that to your mom, to your father, to your dad, sticky kisses, because you are so dirty. When you go and hug your mom or your dad and you give a kiss, oh, sticky, smelly. but they love you. You love them. You love the parents. Their children love you. And it brings us sticky kisses and fistfuls of dandelions. Kids like to pick wildflowers. And then they bring home. Mom, there's flowers. Sometimes they said, okay, put it over there. For them it was very exciting to pick some flowers and to bring home. Wonderful to do that. But older people lose that sense of wonder. We measure everything with money, but kids don't have the idea of money. They just love beautiful things. Wildflowers. So imagine yourself doing that, picking wildflowers, bringing home for your mother, for your father. So lovely, so innocent, so tender. You need to be very careful. They get hurt very easily. They are so tender, they are so scary actually. They feel safe and secure when they feel that you love them. You really love them. For no reason at all. Unconditionally. If you say, I don't love you anymore, they feel really scared. One of my niece, her mother told her that, I'll give you away. And she was so terrified. And also another child I know, her grandparents and her parents told her that, you don't belong to us. Look, you are so different. And this little girl, she was so young, she didn't know that they were just saying that as a joke or just as a punishment to make her behave well. You know what she did? She went away and she said thinking, yes, that might be true. I doesn't belong in this home. They are not my relatives. They are nobody, and I'm nobody. And for years, she felt that very deeply, for years and years. And when I talked with her, she told me that I felt that so strongly for so many years, always thinking that this is not my home. I was adopted. You know, kids don't know, they feel. They cannot think very much, but they can feel very deeply. More than grown-up people. They feel it very deeply. So we should be very careful when we talk with them, when we treat them. Think about yourself again when you were very young. When even as a joke your parents told you something, it hurt you so deeply. You carried that hurt for years and years. And it can cause real serious psychological damage. And some of that little girl I know, she was really psychologically got very damaged. Even now she's grown up, she said, I still can't relate to them as my close relatives. Although I know now that they are my blood relatives, I still cannot feel close. Because she felt like she was adopted, she felt like she didn't belong for so many years when she was young. So when we talk with each other, we need to be very careful. Not just to the young children, even to grown-up people. Even one word can hurt another person so deeply and make him or her feel ashamed and neglected and worthless. You can do that. You can cause a lot of damage by just one word. So when we talk about compassion, it's not just an idea in our head. At first, compassion means may all beings be free from suffering. That's just an idea. Later, when we keep developing this compassion, it becomes a feeling. We feel for another person. And if we keep on doing that, later it becomes wisdom. Then it becomes complete. Compassion without wisdom is not complete. Because sometimes we think that we have compassion and we hurt and cause a lot of damage because we don't have enough wisdom. So, compassion or metta, loving kindness, in the beginning is just an idea, a word, or maybe a feeling. Maybe in the beginning it's just attachment, not real metta. Later it becomes a real feeling, and then later it becomes wisdom. Then it becomes complete. So, to have compassion for another person, we need to be very sensitive to understand how another person is feeling. this moment. When we talk to another person, we have to be very sensitive how my words affect you. We have to be very sensitive. We have to read the signs on the face, the eyes, the way the eyes look, whether that person is looking at you and pleased, smiling or looking away, looking down, quiet, sad, whatever the expression might be. We have to pay very close attention to that. So when we become more and more mindful, we become more and more sensitive. When we become more and more sensitive, we become more receptive. We can receive in more information, verbal information and non-verbal information. We can receive that and process that information correctly when we are mindful, when we are paying attention. Then we know how another person feels. So only by being mindful, we can develop this sensitivity, receptivity, and then compassion, understanding. Without mindfulness, just with the idea that I want to do something good for another person, and we force our idea on that person and hurt that person. We might force another person to eat something, or to do something, and hurt that person too. So to be really compassionate means to be wise also. Without deep wisdom, we cannot be really compassionate. But to be wise, we need to be mindful again. Without mindfulness, there could be no wisdom. Without wisdom, there could be no real compassion. So once in a while we feel for another person, but sometimes, and in most cases, we hurt another person, especially our family members. Even today somebody came and talked about family matters, and I've noticed that they are not sensitive to each other. They are very dutiful, and that even hurts more. Sometimes dutiful hurts even more. You don't neglect them, you are very dutiful, and that makes another person very painful. So let's be more mindful and more sensitive, then we can become more compassionate. So we pray for children who sleep with the dog and bury goldfish. Very beautiful words, but think of it, it's very real. When I was young also, I had cats and dogs, so now here they are cats and they are now my friends. And one little kitten with one broken leg, somebody left that kitten here. And it was so scary and confused. And very hungry and cold too. I gave some food and the little kitten came and I touched the little kitten, pat her, and she felt a little bit secure, and I picked the little kitten and took into my room, warm place, and it was scary, running around like wild, and always trying to get my attention. So I let one hand down and I was reading, and petting the cat and reading also. Sometimes it wanted to climb on my body, so I picked that little kitten and let it sit on my lap, and put my hand on it, and after a while felt a little bit secure and relaxed, and looking up at me. Then later I felt more secure and went down again and jumped on my bed and slept there for a while. Just like a person, just like a baby, with one broken leg. So when my little kitten died when I was young, I buried the little kitten and I told my mom to do some funeral service also. But she didn't take it so seriously. She said, oh, forget about it. But I thought I need a funeral service for my little cat. You know, children think very differently. For children, cats and dogs are persons. They are not animals, they are persons. And another little, my nephew, her dog died, and she demanded that her parents did a funeral service for the dog. And she said she will never have a dog anymore. She felt it so strongly, like she lost her brother. So kids are like that, you know. We need to be very sensitive. They feel very deeply, but we don't take them seriously. We forgot how we felt when we were young. So it's important for us to go back to our childhood days and try to understand how we felt when we were young. It's not a joke. Feelings are very real. It can really affect our mind, our heart, or it can really change our personality. Not just words. So we pray for children who sleep with the dog and bury goldfish. When I think about this, and imagine a little kid burying the dog, burying the goldfish, and demanding a funeral service for the dog. I can see it for a little kid. That little kid was feeling very sad. Not just little kids. All of us are big kids actually. In some ways we are still big kids, overgrown kids. We feel very deeply. Sometimes we don't talk about it because we think that if I talk about it, people might think that I'm just crazy. So we keep things inside, although we feel it. Very reluctant to talk about feelings. So it is very important to acknowledge our feelings. Feelings are real. Understand it very deeply. And also understand that others also feel very deeply. We are not computerized robots. We are people with feelings. So to understand another person's feeling means to be compassionate. So compassion doesn't mean just ideas. To feel for another person, to understand another person's feeling, and then do what is appropriate for that person. So compassion also is mental, verbal, and bodily action. All three. We can't just sit and think, may all beings be free from suffering. You can't just stop there. What are you doing about it? Say something, do something about it. And we pray for children who hug us in a hurry and forget their lunch money. Kids going for school. So they run and give us a hug, and then they run on the bus and go, gone, forgot the money. I did that many times, and later my sister or somebody will come with a lunch box and some money to school. And while I was reading this, I was thinking of my sister also. She brought lunch for me many times when I was young. We pray for children who cover themselves with band-aids and sing off-key. Children sing off-key because they cannot sing very well, right key, off-key, but sounds so nice. So also when I was reading this, sing off-key, I remember myself singing. I like singing very much. Since I was very young, I like singing, I like playing musical instruments. I played musical instruments when I was young. Violin, mandolin, flute, harmonica. So I remember myself singing, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. I remember myself singing that. That little kid is still in me. I'm carrying the little kid. And I love the little kid. I feel for him even now. When he was very lonely, when he felt very lonely, I can even think now, oh, he felt so lonely sometimes. So don't forget how we felt and how we feel now even. Then understand another person, how he or she felt, how he or she feels now. We pray for children who squeeze toothpaste all over the sink. Well, some kids who use toothpaste, but when we were young we didn't use toothpaste. But anyway, we smear everything, everywhere. So, who squeeze toothpaste all over the sink. We pray for children who slurp their soup. Think about that. Lovely kids, lovely children. Lovely young boy, lovely young girl. If you can feel for, even if you can feel his or her happiness, that's a kind of feeling for him, feeling with him. Or sympathy or empathy, the word, is very similar to compassion too. Sympathy or empathy, I'm not sure. Compassion, feeling with or feeling for another person, and understanding. And we pray for those who never get dessert. There are thousands of children like that. No dessert. Just plain food. Because dessert is luxury. You don't eat dessert every day in poor countries, in my country. You can't find any bread to steal. So hungry, you go looking something to steal and eat, but there's nothing there to steal, even to steal. So sometimes in the forest where we plant some fruit trees, some young kids will come and steal. We are hungry. So sometimes you say, just take it and eat it. I just planted these trees because I love planting trees, and I'm not expecting any fruit from this tree. We pray for those who don't have any rooms to clean up. Many children have no rooms, just a bed place to lie down and sleep. Some don't even have proper blankets. No Muslims I know have a kid like that. We pray for those whose pictures aren't on anybody's dresser. So when parents love their children, they take pictures, and then they take pictures somewhere on the dresser, on the mantelpiece, somewhere the parents can see. But there are many children with no parents. Their pictures are not taken. So whose pictures aren't on anybody's dresser? There's nobody they can go and say, call mom or dad. Often, many, hundreds, maybe thousands, everywhere, any country in the world, maybe even in this country. I'm not sure, but hey. So can we really pray for those children? They don't have anybody to call mom or dad. So, and we pray for those who will eat anything. They will eat anything because they are hungry, because they are starving. So sometimes, a long time ago, I saw pictures of African children in Africa. They are starving. One old man, he was lying down with a very torn blanket on his body, and somebody was giving him a packet of dehydration salt. And he was trying to reach the packet like this. And somebody took the picture. This person was almost a skeleton. And children also, it's in a National Geographic magazine. They brought the child to the hospital, but the doctor said it's too late. They're showing the child has died. And the doctor can't do anything anymore. It's just too late. There are people like that. So when I see so much food here thrown away, you know what I did? Once I went into the kitchen and opened the cupboard and opened the container, the bin where you throw away food, and I looked in. So much food there. Enough for 20 people, I did. And I thought, I'm not starving. What can I do? I can't take this food. But I just think some people are starving. But some people have plenty. I'm not blaming for those who have plenty. But I just want you to think of that. We have plenty, but some are starving. So this is compassion. Compassion is not just a word we say and say, we all beings be free from suffering. What can we do about it? What are we doing about it? We pray for those who have never seen a dentist. The toothache, so painful. Some people, they have swollen teeth, crying, couldn't sleep, but they can't go to a dentist. Can't afford to go to a dentist. No dentist around. So you know what some people do? They call the kid, come, and take a chisel and hit the tooth off. That's all they can do. Just wait, just be patient. Come on, open your mouth. And then hit the teeth. Take it off. Sometimes they put some medicine that burns. There are people like that. They have no medical treatment. You know how a toothache feels. Throbbing, you know? Well, and we pray for those who aren't spoiled by anybody. who aren't spoiled, nobody to spoil them. We pray for those who go to bed hungry and cry themselves to sleep. And we pray for those who live and move but have no being. It's the most touching point. There's no being. What do you mean by being? Human beings are not born complete human beings. Human beings are born incomplete. To become a real human being, we need grown-up people, parents or grandparents, relatives and friends, to look after us, to love us, to teach us with kindness, to become good human beings. If there's nobody to love us, nobody to teach us, we don't become a being actually. So we pray for those who live and move. They live and they move, but have no being. There are thousands and thousands of people like that. So I feel very sad when I read this poem. And I can't really say that that is real compassion, but at least it's something like compassion. Because real compassion comes with deep wisdom, and it doesn't make you unhappy. But I read this poem and it makes me unhappy. So that's where I have to begin. I can't begin from the end. I have to begin from where I am now. So I can't do quite a lot for everybody, but if all of us try to do as much as we can, for another person or another dog or another cat even, I think the world will be a better place. If we try. Too much suffering in the world. Why? I can see that, I can feel them. People come and I can feel their feelings sometimes. At least sometimes I do. And I can feel their sadness, their loneliness. They are trying to touch another person, connect another person. Trying to tell another person silently, look, I want you to understand how I feel. I want you to know me. And I want to know you too. Because knowing each other makes us feel very close. And that eradicates loneliness. I feel lonely and you feel lonely too. But why is it that we cannot touch each other? Why is it that we cannot feel for each other? Why is it that we cannot understand each other? Why? We have to think very deeply about these matters. Whenever I talk about something, it's something I really feel. Not just words from books. So I don't mean that I'm a very compassionate person. I told you in the last week too, sometimes I'm very cold, very dispassionate. But sometimes I really feel for people. So, why is there suffering in the world? One person asked this question, and another person answered that question. I think it is Joseph Goldstein who answered the question. Somebody asked him. Well, he gave that answer, very interesting answer to the sheet. He said, to thicken the plot. Somebody asked him the question, why is there suffering in the world? So much suffering in the world. He said, to thicken the plot. Yes, without suffering, the story will be so uninteresting. So much suffering in the world. Try to write a story without any suffering in it. You find it very hard to write. You have to put in some problem, some suffering there, to make the story interesting. So I don't know why there is so much suffering in the world, but I know a few things, that there are more and more suffering these days. Why is that? I think with a little more mindfulness, with a little more sensitivity, with a little more clarity of our mind, with a little more peacefulness in our heart, we can pay more attention to another person. and be more receptive to how the other person is feeling. Our parents, our mother, our father, our brothers or sisters, our wife or our husband, our children, our friend, maybe a stranger on a street or on a bus. If we are calm and peaceful and receptive, we can pay attention. Mostly, we are not calm, we are not peaceful. We have our own suffering and happiness and loneliness so overwhelming that we cannot pay attention to another person. We have no time for another person. We have no place in our heart for another person. So in order to be compassionate for another person, the first thing we need to do is to pay attention to ourselves, to our own unhappiness, suffering, loneliness, to become more mindful. And understanding ourselves very deeply helps us to handle our own suffering, loneliness, and to overcome to a certain extent at least, and become a little bit more peaceful, more sensitive, more loving, more compassionate. So real love, real compassion, real metta, real Karuna comes from some Karuna, calmness, peacefulness, sensitivity, awareness. Without awareness, without mindfulness, without sensitivity, without space in our heart, how can we receive another person? So we have to make space in our heart. We have too much stuff in our inside, not enough space. So to become really loving and compassionate, first we need to be mindful and meditate. Can you accept that? That is my point. Because you can't just sit and say, may all beings be happy, may all beings be free from suffering. That's just words. Do you really feel that? Do you really understand that with deep wisdom? Can we really see why we are suffering? Why I am suffering? Why I feel so lonely? Why I feel nobody can really touch me? Why I feel so scared? Can we really understand that? First we need to understand that in ourselves. Then we will start to understand others too. So with more mindfulness, with more sensitivity, with more clarity, with at least some peacefulness, we can make space in our heart for another person. So I took about 1 hour. So every time I come here, I want to say so much. And that's also compassion, yes. I want you to think more about it, to pay attention. So back to the little haiku poem. The wall of you is only a wall of you, and yet people are born, they die, we know that. It's impermanent. And yet, I think they shouldn't suffer so much unnecessarily. Although we will not be able to eradicate all suffering, I think if we really become more mindful, we can help ourselves and we can help others, at least to reduce that suffering. Suffering is a fact of life, but I think a lot of people are suffering unnecessarily. We are causing each other suffering sometimes because we are so insensitive. I did also. Maybe I will still do that. But at least if I become more mindful and peaceful deep inside, I will do that less and less. At least I can hope that. So today you just breathe in and out, pay attention, meditate for a while, and then think of each person you know and see how much you can feel for that person. Loneliness, sadness, unhappiness, suffering, whatever that feeling might be. Father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, friends, even strangers. Slowly think of each person, even all those who are here. Well, you see, I'm reluctant to talk about it anymore, but anyway, I said, I need your compassion too. I need your loving kindness too. Yes, I need it. So let's think of each other here also, and like the language, and like the matter, and I forgot the name. Beatrice, yes, yes. Very gracious lady. So all of us here, let's think of each person. You can even open your eyes and look at the person, even from the back. Look at that person sitting there. And pay attention a little bit. Just like me, sometimes you feel so lonely. Just like me, sometimes you want somebody to listen to you. You meditate on breathing. This is what you usually do. And you know how to do that. Breathe in deeply, breathe out. Pay attention to the air coming in. Touching your nostrils. Feeling the air coming in very cool. Going out warm. Softly, gently touching. So that your mind comes down to it. Breathe in, breathe out, and then relax. So when you become more relaxed, you feel more peaceful. Then generate your compassion. Think of each person you know, everybody here, at home, at work, anywhere. Just your mind, please listen to your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Your mind drifts away, breathing into your thoughts. And bring back to the person for whom you want to develop compassion for. In your mind, call the name of the person and create the image, the face of the body, the whole body of the person. to remind me again, as your mind drifts away, pay attention to the thoughts and gently, patiently, and also compassionately bring your mind back. Be breathing. Calm down a bit, relax, and then generate compassionate thoughts. Call each person's name in your heart, and then even tell that person that you can feel his or her feelings, any kind of feeling. How do you feel now? The Buddha's heart was cool with compassion. Karuna, Sayadaw U. When you feel real compassion, you don't punish. So if you really think about it, quite a lot of us, I don't mean everybody, but quite a lot of us are punishing each other in many ways. And if we punish another person, in some ways we punish ourselves again. That guilt acts indirectly, unconsciously upon ourselves. If you have any questions, please. Yes. Oh, that's a very good thing to do. Yes. Will that really solve the problem? And another thing is, if you think of the bigger picture, it's very hard to talk about actually. Because we don't see everything from the beginning to end. But at least, I think when we bring a child into the world, before we do that, we have to really think about it. Can I really parent that child? Can I be a good parent? Or why am I bringing a child? Why do I want a child? Not to tell everybody not to have any child. It's very difficult. It's almost impossible. I think it's impossible to do. But at least we can remind people to think more deeply. Before you have a child, ask yourself, am I ready to be a parent? You see, we don't teach people to become good parents. We teach computers and other things, business management. We don't really teach how to be a good father, how to be a good mother. Is there a college where they teach how to be a good mother and good father? I don't hear any college like that. How to be a good wife or a good husband? As if we think these things are just natural and easy to do. Not so easy to do. So to be biologically a parent is quite natural. Quite easy. But psychologically, emotionally, to be a good parent is not that easy, very difficult. So it's partly our karma and partly the child's karma also. But and yet, with a little bit more wisdom, we can reduce a lot of suffering. So before we become a parent and even after we become a parent, we should think very deeply about it. How can I really help this person who has become my child? How can I really help this person to grow up to be a mature, intelligent, and also spiritually developed person? How can I help this person in his or her spiritual development? We need to think about it very deeply. If you feel like you are not ready for a parent, better not to become a parent. A lot of people become parents without prepared for it. I think at least if we pay more attention and we prepare for it, there will be less suffering. Thank you for that question. It's very important. I've been thinking about it for a long, long time. You know why? I'll reveal myself again. I talk a lot about myself. But let me tell you, when I was younger, I was very, very secretive. I never let anybody know what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and what I'm feeling when I was young. But later I found out that That made me feel even more and more lonely and desperate. Later I found I understand that and developed enough courage to let people know about myself, good and bad. This is me, take it or leave it. But I can't go on pretending the person that I'm not. It's too tiring. It becomes bigger and bigger burden. I can't go on acting anymore. It's too much. I'm getting older. And there's no time for posturing anymore. Be real. If people don't like you, they will not come. They'll just leave you. And those who like you will be your real friends. So I will tell you another of my story. I think I already told you. But there may be some others who don't know. I lost my children when they were very, very young. Many reasons, there are many reasons. Not only my fault, not only their fault, not only anybody's total fault. We just did not understand. Not enough knowledge, not enough wisdom. We just reacted too much. And things got worse and worse until we can't manage anything anymore. So I think I did the thing that I thought was the best thing for me to do. Because otherwise things could become even worse. So very desperately, I decided to do the best. But anyway, when my children grew up, once they asked me, if you can't love your children, if you can't look after your children, why did you have them? You know how